Hey everyone, we're about to explore a really fascinating idea. The theory that the Quran, one of the most influential books in history, isn't just a collection of verses. What if it's something more? A text with a hidden mathematical code woven right into its fabric. So here's the big question we're tackling today. What if the text isn't just something you read from start to finish? What if it's more like a multi-layered system, where numbers and words connect in these hidden, almost secret ways? That's the mystery we're going to try and unpack. Now, this idea actually has a name. It's called the Quranic Numerical and Textual Pattern Theory, or QNTP for short. And the people who study this, well, they're not just looking for random coincidences. They're convinced they've found evidence of a deliberate, carefully designed system, a system they say that's meant to highlight the Quran's core themes and maybe even its divine origin. All right, let's get into it. Every good investigation needs a starting point, right? A first clue. And for the QNLPT theory, that first clue is found in three very specific Arabic letters that create a kind of foundational pattern. So what are those letters? They're Kaf, Ra, and Nun. Put them together, and they spell Quran. Simple enough. But the theory suggests that the placement of these letters and the word they form is the key that starts to unlock this whole hidden structure. The first big anchor point for this theory is found right here in Surah 2, verse 185. Why is this verse so important? Because it's the very first time the word Quran is mentioned. It links the word directly to the beginning of its revelation. So you can think of this as the first bookend in our puzzle. And here's the other bookend. The very last time the word Quran shows up is in Surah 85, verse 21, where it's called a glorious Quran. So there you have it, a clear beginning and a clear end point for every time the book is explicitly named. Okay, so having two textual clues like that is pretty interesting on its own. But this is where the theory takes a really surprising turn. It suggests these two verses aren't just linked by theme, they're connected by numbers. And the connection is, well, it's surprisingly simple. You just take the surah numbers from those first and final mentions we just saw, that's 2 and 85, and you just add them together. The answer? 87. So what about 87? Is it just a random number that doesn't mean anything? Or, as the QNTP theory claims, is it a signpost, pointing us to the next piece of this puzzle? And here's the big reveal. That number, 87, points directly to verse 87 of Surah 15. And what does that verse talk about? You guessed it, it explicitly mentions the Great Quran. It creates this perfect triangle, linking the first mention, the last mention, and now this third crucial verse. But get this, the pattern supposedly goes even deeper. If you take the surah number itself, 15, and you add its digits, so 1 plus 5, you get 6. And guess what? In that key verse, 1587, the word Quran is the sixth word. It's like another layer to this connection that just unfolds. But the theory doesn't just stop there. Nope. These first connections, they're apparently just part of a much, much larger framework. And it's all centered around what some researchers call a master number. And that number is 15,876. Now, I know, at first glance, it just looks like a random string of digits. But according to the theory, this number is a cornerstone. It's the thing that connects a whole bunch of different mathematical threads running through the text. So how is this number supposed to be significant? Well, the theory breaks it down. Turns out 15,876 is exactly 126 times 126. So 126 squared. Proponents say that this number, 126, is absolutely central, and even its digits add up in an interesting way. 1 plus 2 plus 6 equals 9. Which is another number that they claim is super significant in these patterns. Okay, let's take a breath. We've seen links in the text, we've seen numbers being added up, and we've got this potential master number. But what's the point of it all? I mean, why would such a complicated system even exist in the first place? Well, the people who support the QNTP theory say this isn't just a numbers game. They believe these patterns have two main jobs. First, to create thematic coherence, digitally linking all those key verses about revelation and glory. And second, to provide what they see as evidence of a deliberate divine structure, something hidden just beneath the surface of the words. Now, it's really important to remember this theory is a work in progress. It's not a closed case. And just like any good investigation, when you answer one question, it just opens up a whole bunch of new paths to explore, new clues to follow. And the QNTP theory isn't supposed to be a standalone thing. Researchers suggest that it actually fits together with other proposed numerical patterns. You might see them called POLA 237 or POLA 729, where POLA just means pattern. The idea is that this could all be part of one big, grand, unified system. So, to push this whole thing forward, researchers are asking some really specific questions, like, does that master number, 15,876, actually match up with something tangible, like a total count of letters or words in key chapters? They're also digging into whether the number 126 has any known symbolic meaning in Islamic tradition. And of course, they're going back to those three soars we started with, 2, 15, and 85, to see if there are even deeper thematic connections. And that really leaves us with a final, kind of provocative thought. The QNTP theory lays out this really fascinating web of connections. Now, whether you look at this and see proof of a deliberate design or just a series of incredible coincidences, it definitely forces you to look at the text in a whole new way. And it makes you wonder, if this intricate structure is real, what other messages might still be lying there, just waiting to be discovered?